we are all here for a big Friday celebration. It has been a long day, but it has been a day full of excitement, and it does not end here. We will be back in a minute to share all the details of what we're celebrating tonight. Make sure you go grab like your favorite snack or beverage and then come join the party. Guys, I cannot think of a Friday night when we've all been together.
And these days, I mean, this is very exciting considering you can't really do much on a Friday night anymore.
Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. And we're already getting comments being like, yay, so fun. Everyone's so excited. You guys know if you've been following our social, we're celebrating a big things today. Before we get into the big celebration, please make sure you say hi in the comments, engage with our amazing Teach Better family that's enjoying the fun of a Friday party. And while you're doing that, I thought it'd be better if we kind of introduced ourselves, just in case, if you're a part of the Teach Better family, but you don't know everybody. It's good to always stay in the know on who's in our family and the amazing things that they do to support. So Carrie, will you start us off, like your name, what you do in education, and maybe just like briefly, like what's your role on the team?
Sure. I am Carrie, and I'm a middle school ELA teacher, and I am the digital content coordinator for the Teach Better team. So that is like anything blog related is what I have my hands on.
Love it. Becky, what about you?
I am a 5th grade math and science teacher. And on the Teach Better team, I work a lot with the Mastery Chat and the Mastery Chat group. And I work a lot with the Facebook group, so the private group.
Yes. And then the one we are celebrating tonight, Miss Jennifer Apple. Tell us.
Yeah, my name is Jennifer, and I'm a middle school teacher here in Washington State, and I'm the chief heart officer for the Teach Better team. So I get to do all the happy things. So I get to send all the fun cards and birthday presents, and I get to do a pretty cool job. I just get to
really
spread happiness.
Like she's an all-star at it, which actually just adds to why we love her so much, because you're not only an incredible teacher, you do so much to just like raise the love of the team, and now officially 2-time published author. So exciting. Yay!
I know, it's so crazy to think about. This is my 2nd book. Hans was saying that, and I go, what? I don't have 2 books. I was like, oh, I do. Never mind.
Oh my gosh. And Jen, I'm a fan of the 1st book, but I'm so excited and proud of you that the 2nd book launched today. So Jen, I know that everybody's probably seen all the posts on social. I can only assume everyone already pre-ordered it, because it's just been all over the place with people showing me pictures that they already have it ordered. But now on launch day, like if people have been off social media, if they haven't seen all the details, tell us about this brand new book that they can now grab right now.
Here it is. So it's yay. It's called I'm Who. And those of you that read the 1st book, Ginger is the star of the 2nd book. If you remember, Ginger had a little appearance in the 1st book. She was the beautiful dog. It was Maya's sister, who in reality, Ginger was Maya's sister. And so she went to her like, oh, maybe I can be this beauty queen like Ginger. And so this book it's kind of takes you behind the scenes of Ginger. So on the outside, Ginger is beautiful. She has everything going for her. And in the inside, she has this internal struggle with anxiety. And so she has all this overwhelming stress and anxiety. And so it's kind of her journey of how she deals with that. And in the book, I kind of give like strategies of how students and children and adults can deal with anxiety. Like, what are some ways that you can deal with anxiety and stress in your own life, which we all have all the time. And so it just kind of takes you through that journey and her self-discovery of like how she can control it herself.
I don't think any of us have ever like engaged with stress. Carrie, you're not ever stressed. Becky, you
not at all.
Your life.
I was literally in school today thinking, I really need this book. Like, I need a copy of it today. I need to read it now.
And I don't know if this is a coincidence, Jen, but apparently for your celebration of your second book, which is so beautiful illustrations and you use animals to share such important topics with children, you got all dog lovers on this video right now. Like, this was very well planned.
Yeah.
I know. I try to get like only dog people to like talk to me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who on our team is not? We have like Caitlin's a dog lover, cat lover. Michelle's a cat lover. I know we have some others, but like we only let the dog people come in because Ginger and Maya, the main characters of these books, have been dogs. And Jen, one of the coolest things I know people are totally geeking out about is that it doesn't just have Ginger in it. You have some other friends that joined this book.
Yeah, so there's 3 guest stars. So we did a little competition to see like if people wanted to allow their dog, like, a little competition for the dogs to be in there. So one of the dogs, which you guys will all know, is Tasty, which is Jeff's dog, who she is precious. And she has a couple pages in the book, but one of them, she's like proud, like sitting there talking to Ginger. It's pretty cute. Mm-hmm. So she's one of them that's in there. And then another dog that's in there is Tiba. And she is a local dog that is a therapy dog that actually goes to our local elementary schools and like interacts with the kids. And she's so cute. And then Hope is another dog that's in there, and she was rescued during the pandemic. And she is the cutest dog. She has these little freckles on her nose. Like, and so in the book, you see the little, it's just like, he did such a good job with the illustrations, and they're adorable. So yeah, Ginger, meets them at the dog park when she goes there. So it's pretty cute.
So fun. I love that. I know this is dorky, but I really would love to not only explore the book a little bit more, but also talk about strategies that we could use the book not only with our own children, but with our students, because that's actually one of my favorite parts about you being an author, Jen, is that I feel like everything's so versatile in the work that you do. So where do you guys want to start? Should we take like a vote? Do you want to start maybe by showing us some illustrations in the book? I know you have the book right there, and I'd love for people to really see the beautiful illustrator that was a part of this book as well.
Yeah. So one of the cool things that we tried to do in the book was Ginger kind of goes through like the different things that like kind of trigger her anxiety. And so one of the things is allergies, for example. And I know a lot of people struggle with that, like medical kind of reasons is why you have stress and anxiety, right? Yeah. And allergies, especially for kids, that becomes a trigger. And Ginger, the real Ginger, like my dog, just as a little funny side note, she is a Shetland sheepdog. She's a Shetland sheepdog, and she was bred to herd sheep, right? She's allergic to sheep. So like when she had all these allergy tests because she was allergic to grass and trees and shrubs and like anything green she was allergic to. And I remember the vet calling me and she goes, and she's allergic to sheep. And I just started laughing. And she goes, why are you laughing? And I go, you're telling me my Shetland sheepdog is allergic to sheep. And the vet's like, oh, that is pretty funny. I was like, I'm sorry, it's kind of funny. So anyways, that's like one of the triggers in it. But then it shows like, I don't know if you guys can see that well. So in the illustrations, it's kind of subtle where she goes to like a lavender field, right? Because we know lavender is calming, or there's the ocean is behind her. So like ocean sounds are calm, things like that. And so it's those subtle things in the pictures that it doesn't necessarily say, like, you should smell lavender when you're stressed. Like it doesn't spell it out, but it's in the pictures. And so I think even for, Carrie, like a middle school teacher, looking at those illustrations and go, what are the things we can pull out of those pictures that like show how you can deal with anxiety on a different level besides just the obvious things, right?
That's a great question. How do you guys deal with anxiety? Like Becky, Carrie, Jen, do you guys have strategies that help you with anxiety?
Me personally, or for my students, or both?
Maybe both.
I mean, I think for me personally, I found even in the classroom, I started this strategy about 2 years ago where I play instrumental jazz music. And the kids have really actually become one with listening to this. And so while we're working, part of it is it breaks up, sometimes the silence of them kind of diligently working. I don't have the problem where they're too talkative. I have the problem where they're actually like so quiet and so into it that I'm almost like, I need to break the tension here. Like this is giving me anxiety. It's so quiet. So I play instrumental jazz in the classroom when I'm not talking and we're just kind of working on something. And they really like that. And it works. It honestly helps me. It was funny because my principal came in recently and he was joking with me. He said, I feel like I'm in an elevator. And I said, this is more for me than it is for them.
So funny. What about you, Carrie? Anything that you do that you feel like really helps with stress or anxiety in your classroom or in your own life?
Yeah, I would say with my students, I try to make my classroom as calm as possible. I just think the whole middle school experience is stressful. So like we always start with just like an icebreaker, just of like a would you rather question or just something not content related, just to get us chatting and open that floor for anything that's on their mind. And then having independent reading time. And then when they're working independently, like letting them listen to music and then just giving them a lot of freedom and flexibility, I think allows them to not feel that like anxiousness of like, I have to, get this done in this class period. And I have to be where everyone else is. And I think just a lot of the little things that we do in our classroom to provide that environment for them is ultimately helping them ease that stress, because I remind them all the time, middle school is hard. So like, let's just get through it together and try to make it easier on everybody.
And what's particularly difficult this year, obviously, with the situation we're in, my students, we're still in person, knock wood, for now. So, but what's difficult is sometimes the strategies that you would normally go to, for instance, flexible seating, is not an option now. So you have to compensate for it in other ways.
For sure.
So maybe I'll bring in lavender plants and I'll put them on everybody's desk.
Or the essential oils. You'll be fine.
In their masks.
I won't lie, Jen. I love that you added in those kind of like hidden things in the book, because it's not only an opportunity for us to get ideas to share with students, but also opportunities for students to really see that this children's book has so much more depth than just the beautiful story. But there really are some really good teachable moments for our students and for ourselves. I mean, I think teachers more than ever are really experiencing stress and anxiety. And while there's so many things we as a team have tried to do, we help our colleagues, I'm sure, as well, there's a lot of choices we have to make as individuals to help ease our own stress and anxiety. And I love that you put the ocean waves in there, because I won't lie, sometimes I like drive out. I live near a very, very big body of water. So I drive out there to, just kind of relax and take some time in nature, helps with my anxiety. But I also bring that into my classroom where I like throw YouTube clips like on repeat up on my smartboard of like a crackling fireplace or sitting at the beach. And it's amazing how seeing something, even though you're not there, it like kind of is immersive and eases that stress. I love that that's in the book as a reminder as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had in my classroom, there's a smart board. I'm not in a classroom right now because we're remote, but when we're in person, there's like a smart board. And then I have a huge like TV, like an old TV, like on the side. And so I would have in the winter, it was a crackling fire. And so it was like the pretty fire, like over here. And then in the like spring, it was like ocean waves. Right. And so it was that like ocean sounds. And it did, like, it's just the kids would sometimes go over and they'd pretend like the fire was on, and warm up. And it was just like that fun, like they just needed to relax for a second. And it was just an easy way for them to be allowed to relax, and like, I just need to take a minute away and then I'm going to come back, that kind of thing.
So fun. And I think finding that balance between, like Livia saying, like not only providing them in the classroom where it doesn't even have to be addressed, but students know that it's a comfortable environment because you've naturally put in these things. But also I love the concept that Livia brings up of sharing people's ideas with each other, because then we're able to put other strategies in place to not only be able to suggest something to a different student, but for ourselves as well. I think this ebb and flow of finding the right resource. And sometimes it's not the same strategy. Sometimes you have to vary it up for different situations.
Absolutely. And the other thing with the same as the last book, I have 3 lesson plans that go with it, just like I did with the last book. So one of them is positive self-talk. So that's one of the strategies that Ginger uses, is like talking to herself and telling her that, yes, I'm good. I'm, all of these things. And so there's an activity in there where I actually pulled out pictures from the book and they analyze them and think about what positive self-talk can they do for themselves. One of the other lessons is called square breath. If you haven't done this with students, it's kind of cool. And it's basically, they draw a square. I'm sure most of you have seen it. It's similar, we all do yoga. So it's like similar yoga breathing, except for kids, it's in a square, and they count and inhale and exhale. And it just helps them like concentrate on their breath instead of like whatever they're stressed out on. And I actually have a little visual that has Ginger breathing in the middle. It's super cute. You can print it out, make a little poster. It's so adorable. It's Ginger like this. And she's like, she's taking a deep breath. It's super cute. And then the last one is like safe space. So it's like, where is that space that you can go to that you feel safe? So where's somewhere that you feel like you can go to and you always have that comfort? For some kids, it's their bedroom. For some kids, it's outside. For, one of my students, it was this tree like behind their house. And they were like, they had this perfect little spot in the tree I could sit in, like right at the root of the tree. And they would go out there and that was like the space that they could regroup, And then I think in the classroom, like coming up with a space in your room that is like, that's a safe space that they feel like they can go to if something is bothering them, if something's happening, they just need a minute to themselves. Like there's a little spot, even during COVID, like there could be a little corner that's like isolated or something that they could go to for a minute and like relax and then be able to come back.
And Ginger is the quote unquote like perfect dog, right? She was the beautiful sister and she was the perfect one. And what I find is a lot over the years is that you find that the students that present themselves in class as being very buttoned up and the best students in terms of behavior and academics are the ones who suffer from sometimes the most anxiety. And we don't always see it in the classroom, but you hear it from the parents because, as we know, the students tend to hold it together very well in school. And when they get home, that's where, so it's just letting them know that we understand and trying to give the parents strategies too of how they can help at home.
There's so many examples of using strategies, especially with the safe space specifically, that I so connect with. And my immediate reaction, Jen, as you were saying that, is I'm like, God, another reason I need my kids in the classroom. I hate being remote right now. And I like in my head, as you were talking, I'm like, oh, what a bummer. But hey, like, couldn't we do something like that with like virtual backgrounds and Google Meets and Zoom, like have students do an activity where they find their favorite space and then they like can see themselves in that space on a meeting. I think that would be like very interesting to see what the effects are of a student choosing to do that.
Or even they Zoom that day from their safe spot. They're like you do Zoom or you do Google Meets and you actually turn on your camera and like show me your safe space. So it's outside by this tree, it's in your bedroom, it's wherever. And so they kind of can actually show you like, this is my safe space, this is what I do, I'm sitting in a beanbag chair, or like whatever it is, like they could actually be in that spot and then show you visually, virtually.
And I love how these books like bring up those conversations. For someone like me who grew up with like a lot of anxiety, I didn't even know what anxiety was until I was in high school. And I mean, even just like taking a college course on psychology and learning about positive self-talk and how that affects students, and then being able to bring that conversation into the classroom. I just love how this opens the doors for some of those bigger conversations that are okay to have with your kids that are maybe difficult to find a way to start that conversation without that mentor text.
I agree with you, Carrie. I mean, I was the same way. And I was actually thinking about when I knew we were coming live, I was thinking about the fact that I suffered from severe anxiety from the summer of 4th grade going into 5th grade, because I knew in 5th grade we were going to be switching classes and I was very anxious about that whole process. And my parents, ironically, because I was suffering from severe insomnia, I couldn't go to sleep. And at the time, like you said, Carrie, that was not identified. That wasn't talked about, particularly with kids. But my parents bought us a dog to distract me, and it did help. I mean, it really did. It took my mind off of it. But yeah, it's nice that we're having these conversations now for kids, because it was not something that was ever discussed.
Well, don't you think it's easier to talk about hard topics when you have a character you can talk about it instead of being like, I feel this way, and you're like admitting or you're putting it on somebody else or trying to find an example. It's so much easier to be able to identify with a character, especially an animal. For me, I just think that's so much easier. rather than say, me or someone. I really feel like it gives me a much better medium in which to speak about the topic.
Absolutely.
Well,
I am Ginger.
It takes out like that I can't relate to that because I'm not that gender, I'm not that race, I'm not that, you know what I mean? And so you take away those things that are kind of a barrier for some people, like, oh, I can't relate to that because that's a girl, so I can't relate to that character, you know what I mean? Like, I have boys tell me that all the time, like, oh, I can't read that book, that's the main character's a girl, I'm not gonna, like, I can't relate to that, I gotta read. And it's like, no, like it none of that stuff matters. It's like, when it's an animal, it's just an animal, it's like everyone can relate to it because it's not like you can see yourself in any kind of character that way. It's not like specific to one person or one group.
So this is your second book, Jen. And I want you to, if you don't mind, without any spoilers, because I know you have such big, audacious dreams. I just love that about you. But what's the goal of this series, right? So they saw that you published this incredible book this summer, and everyone I know grabbed a copy, and we talked about it for such a long time. And now there's a second book, and it dives into the characters in a different way. You have incredible celebrity appearances. I don't know how to call those, but I just love that there's so many guests in it. You're still addressing extremely important ideas that you can not only share with your own children at home, but also students in the classroom. What are you building here? What's next?
Yeah. And I think the goal is just to always have a topic that has something to do with SEL, whole child education, right? So the first book was kindness, service, and empathy, Maya discovering that. The second book is all about anxiety and stress. And honestly, I'm getting a lot of my ideas from my own animals. So Maya, it was kind of, a lot true story of her life and kind of what happened. And Ginger, this honestly is a true story. She had severe anxiety as a dog. And I learned so much from her and her anxiety. It really actually taught me a lot as a teacher, how to deal with kids with anxiety because she had such severe anxiety. And so I kind of learned from her. The next book will have Sammy in it. If you remember Sammy from the first book, she'll be in there, and there'll be some topics that kids have to deal with. There might be, maybe something about poverty. There might be something about, something like that. So there's going to be some topics like that it's kind of this is something that's not always easy to talk about. But we want to try to bring that out so that people can do it in kind of a fun way with an animal, but also get to a serious topic. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where we're going it's we're trying to push that envelope just a little bit of this is for second grade, but you can talk about anxiety and stress in second grade. It's okay, but you can also use it in middle school. So kind of those ideas and just trying to subtly kind of bring those up and have that discussion start.
So what you're saying is if there's any hard, difficult topics, challenging topics that come to mind, we should just direct message you all of our struggles and you'll write a children's book for us. It's kind of what I'm getting from.
Right. Yeah. Just go ahead and bring them my way. I'll figure it out.
I have a soft spot for this series. I've told Jen this because my first dog was a Sheltie. And so, he looked a lot like Ginger. So it was as soon as I saw it was about a Shetland sheepdog, I was like, oh, my dog.
And once you're a Sheltie person, you're a Sheltie person for life. We're our own little unique people. I can meet people and they'll look at our dogs and I'm like, you're a Sheltie person. I don't have to even, and they're just yeah, I am. I can tell.
Well, and Jen, I know we haven't talked about this, so I know we're live. I don't even care. I have to ask you, girl, you just got a new puppy and I have been stalking this new dog. Jen, I live on your Instagram to see this new puppy. So can you spill the beans on what happened? It went from, hey, I'm publishing a book, really busy 2020. Oh, we just got this adorable new dog. Whoa, what happened?
So cute.
Yeah, well, life hands you things and you just go with it. So she was in a situation that wasn't good for her. And so we said, yes, you're going to come home with us. So her age that she's at right now, Maya, who's a really small Sheltie, she's only 15, 16 pounds. At Winnie's age, she was about 7 pounds or so. Winnie was at 3 when we got her. So she's already gained a pound. We've only had her for like not even 2 weeks, and we've already got her, like, she's up a pound. So, and her poor little legs were kind of bowed, and she was pigeon-toed and things like that. But I think that's Hans bringing her in right now. You're going to see her in just a second. So she's doing much better.
I love the puppy fur. That's how my Max looked. Yeah.
So she is getting better. She's up to like 4.5 pounds now. So she's eating well and getting good. So it just kind of, fell in our laps. And so we decide, we're like, we need to help her and, get her into a good home. So we don't have a book plan for Winnie yet. So Winnie needs her own book. So I don't know what she's going to do, but
well,
she's going to need her own.
I'm glad she needs her own book, because I actually only came live to be her advocate that Winnie
sure. Hans wants to call it Award Winnie Dog. And I was like, okay, that's pretty good. Award Winnie Dog.
I think that's really beneficial. There are so many things that you could talk about with Winnie. I love this idea. So I just think it's so wonderful that you're continuously putting out such incredible content for us to use, not only with our children, but with our students. And I know I said this earlier with your first book, and I truly mean this all the way through. I love that the characters are or were living creatures that that students can identify with. And, whether it's following Maya on Instagram or Winnie's story, I just think that's a very cool element of the book, that there's not only depth within the story and the illustrations, but also that the characters are actual dogs that you can go and follow and check out and connect with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with Ginger, I remember what you were talking about earlier, Becky. I said this on Wednesday when we were live too, that she was the most compliant dog I've ever had in my life. Like, she literally potty trained in 1 day. Like, I mean, wow. I'm not joking. Like, we yelled at her once and said, don't pee on the carpet. She never did again the rest of her life. So it was like, and she was like the dog that I was like, you walk next to me, and she's like, okay. And she just did. Like, she was that dog. But it's what you were saying, Becky, is that she had such severe anxiety that she was like, I'm going to do exactly what you say. I'm going to do exactly what you say. I'm going to do it. Because if I don't, I'm afraid of what's going to happen in the future. Right? Somebody said depression is fear of the past. Anxiety is fear of the future. Right? And so that's what it was. She was always afraid of what was going to happen in the future. Yeah. And so she was so compliant. And I remember that when we first got her, I'd only been teaching like 5 years. And I was like, oh, like it clicked with me with my students. I was like, oh yeah, all those girls, they're in there and they're being super compliant, and their moms are like, oh yeah. And then they get home and I'm like, really? Yeah. And it's finally, I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, that's exactly what's happening. Yeah. That's what they're doing.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, in a sense, it's, their home is obviously their safe space, which is good. But then it's kind of where you really see where that anxiety really manifests itself. So,
yeah.
So is Winnie like Ginger or like Maya, or she's on her own journey?
She's on her own journey. Yeah. She's actually more similar to our first dog, Sammy. Han says she does not like to follow the rules. Yeah, we kind of joke that she does have a little bit of ODD. Yeah, she does. And to give her credit, she was kept in a very small pen. Like a little playpen. And so she never moved very much, for the first 3 months of her life. And so she got to our house and she just sat like this for like 2 days. And then she finally like started moving. And now it's like, she's discovered toys, and she's discovered like, we got her some bone, like she can chew on little plastic bones. And she's just like, this is the greatest place ever. Like, I don't know what to do. And so she's just like running around like, it's kind of like when you first go to college, right?
She's sewing her oats. She's sewing her oats.
Yeah. She's like, oh, this is the best. And so she's kind of, discovering everything for herself.
It's a frat party at the Apple House.
That's what I just got from that. I think that's the party central. Carrie, we got to head over to go to Apple's house to go party.
I know. Let's go.
Well, Jen, we're just so excited for you. I just can't can't spill my love for you and the work you do enough. I'm so proud of you. I know we just all wanted to be a part of your celebration, not only all week long through the pre-sale, but obviously on launch day. I do want to make sure that everybody listening is able to go grab the book on Amazon, Etsy, and awardwinningculture.com. Is there a place that you prefer? You want to give them a little sneak peek on why they might want to go to awardwinningculture.com to grab the book?
Yeah, award-winning culture. It's actually the cheapest because you get free shipping. So that's the one reason to go there. And then you also get stickers and a bookmark and, some little fun add-ons. And Maya and I will sign the book, even though it's Ginger's book. Maya and I will sign it for you because it's Maya's series. So she still gets credit for all of them. So yeah, we'll sign them for you as well. And then we also have bundle deals. So if you haven't gotten the first book, award-winning dog, there's a bundle to buy 2 of them and it's a lot cheaper. And then there's also with Hans's book, if you haven't bought his, you can get all 3 if you want. So you get quite a bit of a discount if you purchase it that way. So
that's awesome. Oh. Any final words from the family to continue celebrating Jen? Carrie, Becky, anything you want to throw in?
I'm just looking forward now to, the third book, now that we've talked about it. No pressure, Jen. I know that the second one just launched, but, I do, as I've said, like you said, everybody loves animals. Everybody loves stories that are told through animals. So I think you're onto something big. So we're very excited for you. Congratulations.
Yep.
Thank you.
I would second everything that Becky just said. I just ordered my copy this morning. I cannot wait to get it and start using it in my classroom as soon as possible, virtually.
Love it. Jen, we're so excited for you. Everybody, if you haven't ordered already, go grab Jennifer Apple's second children's book, I Am Who, featuring Ginger and so many other dogs that we love. And we can't wait to see what more you do, Jen, but just keep doing all the amazing things you're doing because you're making us better. We really appreciate it.
And congratulations on Winnie. Congratulations on Winnie. She's in very good hands. She's a very lucky dog.
Thank you. Yes. We're super excited to have her with our family.
Yes. And for everyone else, if you need anything from the Teach Better family, we are here to support you. We know a lot of you are going through transitions, whether transitioning back to remote, into hybrid, back to whatever everything's going on. We really, really are here to support you. We are going to continuously put supports in place like incredible conversations, like incredible books that we can continue to direct you to have some of those tough conversations, and anything else that we can be there for to hopefully be a little bit better today than we were yesterday and a little bit better tomorrow than we were today. So thank you, all 3 of you, to joining me live. But Jen, thanks for giving us a reason to celebrate on a Friday night. This is the best Friday night plans I've had in a long time.
Me too.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. See you later, guys.
Bye-bye.